Section 4 is all about customer behavior. It's important to understand your customer. If you own your own business and you sell products, you know how important it is to know what your customers' wants and needs are. And so you have to study and understand why people buy the way that they do, why they choose one product over another. And so here are some influences. And you have cultural, social, personal, and psychological. I'm not going to read over all of these, but you can read these for yourself, and you can probably relate to these as far as what influences you when you purchase items, especially higher priced items. Consumer behavior is the way that people act when they buy, use, and discard goods and services to use in their own personal consumption. And it basically, you're studying why the customer bought what they did or used what they did. You're basically studying the customer and their reasons. Cognitive dissonance is consumer discomfort with the purchase decision. It's usually a higher priced item. You may have felt this if you purchased a home. You may have felt like, did I do the right thing? Or a car or an automobile. You may have experienced this for yourself. Now, when we study customer behavior, sometimes it could be just a spontaneous decision when we're buying a pack of gum or some kind of impulse buy, and there may have not been an influence. It may just been one of those things, we grabbed it. But a lot of purchases, there are reasons why we choose what we do. So I'm going to show you the steps in the consumer decision process. I'm going to open your book for a second. So here is an example of a consumer decision process, and this is a person that's buying jeans, but I'm going to use my own example here, but I like the way that this was diagrammed. I wanted to show it, but my daughter just started playing basketball, and I'm very excited about that. And she needs a basketball that's the right size for her to practice. And so I knew that this was something she needed, and I've had it in my mind to get her one. Well, I was at Walmart, so I looked, and I decided I needed to check the GroupMe app to see what size her coach had said because I could not remember. Well, when I pulled my GroupMe app up, she had recommended a basketball, and it had hands on it so that she could put her hands in the right place to practice her free throws. So I could either get her one at Walmart or I could order this one off of Amazon. Well, I like the one off of Amazon because it did have the hands, and she is learning to shoot free throws. So I decided to purchase the Amazon one. So I did my information search. I did evaluate alternatives. And even though I will have to wait for it to come in, I think it was the better purchase. And so I made the decision to order it. Okay, and post-purchase behavior, I may decide if it takes too long to get in, I may just request a refund and get it at Walmart. But a lot of times when you buy something down here, after you get the product, you may feel bad and think I shouldn't have gotten that, or I'm going to take that back. I really don't need it. That would be some examples of post-purchase behavior. But as you can see, you will not always go through this process, and you may not go in this order, but you do have a kind of a system when you're buying something. You do go through a lot of these processes, especially if it's something that you don't normally purchase. But this shows the consumer decision process, and you can read over this example as well. Buyer behavior describes how people act when they are buying products to use either directly or indirectly to produce other products. Decision-making process is going to be based on purchasing training and application of rational criteria. The 4 key factors that act as a major influence on business buying decisions are environmental factors, organizational factors, interpersonal factors, and individual factors. However, understanding the business market is not necessarily as complicated as understanding the consumer market. So you're going to, when the business is making that buyer decision, their input is integrated from a number of internal sources, and there's a formal process here. And customers seek highly customized goods, services, and prices. Business buyers typically buy according to purchase specifications and standards. So the difference here is there's not a lot of personal judgment that you have to study. You're not studying an individual person. There's a process that businesses go through when they're doing this. So let's look at the knowledge check. And if you want to pause it and read the question and see if you can answer it, and then press play to check your answer. The correct answer is C. It is a discomfort with a decision that comes after a purchase is made. This section is about marketing research, which is the process of gathering, interpreting, and applying information to uncover marketing opportunities and challenges and to make better marketing decisions. When marketing begins with the customer, marketing research often leads to a successful business. The goal is to make better marketing decisions that provide more value for your consumers and more profits for your businesses. If you are a business owner, you know the importance of providing value to the customers. So with marketing research, you're going to use it as a business owner to identify external opportunities and threats, to monitor and predict customer behaviors, and to evaluate and improve each area of the marketing mix. The types of data that can be used for marketing research is secondary data and primary data. Secondary data is going to be easier to gather because it's already out there and more cost effective because you're not having to do the research yourself. So you would probably want to gather data from secondary if you can. And then once you gather the secondary data, then you may want to add some primary to it, but you may not have to. Primary is going to be expensive because this is going to be done through a specific research project. And what I would say is the secondary research data should guide and focus your primary research. But it's going to take time if you use primary, if you have to gather the data, and it's also going to cost. So time and cost are definitely factors here. So always start with gathering it from data that's already out there. So here are some examples. This is comparing secondary data and primary data. And I kind of talked about that already, but you can look at these. If you have your own business, you may want to really look at this. Surveys are always good for primary or focus groups. customer reviews are a good, um, if you have online sales and they can leave reviews, this is a good way to get to know your customer. And you can pretty much gather that pretty quickly if you encourage them to do the survey. Secondary data, you can use all kinds of items, the US Census, Wall Street Journal, product sales histories, but this is a good comparison of secondary data versus primary. An advantage of using observation research is that the researcher does not have to worry about getting inaccurate or dishonest answers from respondents. So there's a benefit there because you're actually observing it yourself. When it comes to survey research, you can secure information about the way people feel and think and the things that cannot be observed. So these two are good primary research tools, surveys and observations. And then it talks about an international perspective. Research firms with a strong local presence, often based in the country, are better able to carry out international marketing research projects. So if a business has customers in another country, you would want to find a, a firm to research maybe that's already in that country because they're going to probably get better results.